Welcome to Far Out with Faust. I'm Faust Chicho, and today I'm sitting here with Roopam Bhatt. Roopam is beaming in all the way from Mumbai. He's a pharmacist by trade. That is the traditional allopathic pharmacy that we know here in the States, but his expertise and his passion has turned to the Ayurvedic Indian traditions of medicine, which are ancient and amazing, and we're going to talk all about it. Thanks for beaming in, Rupam. Appreciate you coming in this morning.
Thank you, Faust, for having me here. Good morning there, and namaste from Mumbai.
Thank you so much. Namaste to you too. So, Rupam, I don't know if I did any justice to your background. If you want to go into a little bit more about what, there's people here who are listening to this who have never even heard the word Ayurveda. Ayurveda, right? So it's crazy to me that people don't know about this ancient field of study. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. The word Ayurveda, it's made of two words, Ayur and Veda. Ayur means life and Veda means science. So Ayurveda is the science of life. And first, the first medicine made on planet Earth was Ayurvedic medicine, because this is a 5,000-year-old science. And the best part of it, there's no mysticism in it. It is documented.
That's incredible. So the traditions go back 5,000, probably further back than 5,000 years, but 5,000 years probably the first time we started to be able to see more of the recorded history. But I imagine some of these medicines are even older. Is how did you come into this passion, and how does Ayurvedic different than what we call and consider medicine here?
Yeah. Now, I came into this business because of this is my family business. This is what I do. And my father was a Ayurvedic doctor. He was a Ayurvedic herbal physician. And coming to how Ayurveda is different from allopathy, as you introduced me, I'm a pharmacist, and I believe both the systems, the Ayurvedic or the herbal system, as well as the allopathic system, can work in tandem. We don't want to put one against the other. When there is a trauma, there is an accident, or there's pneumonia, or there's an infection, you do need allopathy. But for day-to-day ailments, like a bad stomach, like wheezing, like a fatty liver, and so many like hemorrhoids or joint pains or like inflammation, Ayurveda is the answer. Because the best part of Ayurveda is if they are made in the traditional way, they do not have any side effects. And my principal, my teacher in pharmacy told me there is no drug in allopathy which does not have a side effect. So
That's
that is
right.
the main difference between Ayurveda and allopathy.
That's a big difference. I I have I always hear a mentor of mine say, "There's no such thing as side effects. Okay, there's only effects." They only call them side effects so that you won't think anything of it. You'll buy the product anyway. But if it has an effect on you, it's an effect. It's not a side effect, right? So I always laugh when I hear the word side effects. It's such a interesting way to describe a series of symptoms that you get from taking something else, right? But no, the difference between what you just said and what the allopathic, chemical, synthetic medicines that we have here in the States that's a big difference. And so, we have a lot of chronic illness in the United States, and it's a growing number. It's alarming. And so I think that the more people can be exposed to ways that can help prevent and, address chronic illness, not only after the fact, which is sometimes a little late, but, beforehand, the better we're going to be moving into these next 5 to 10 years, because at the rate everything's going, it's not a great forecast.
Absolutely. To add to what you just said, uh, let me give you a simple example. Now, people these days, after the corona COVID hit the world, people are talking immunity, immunity, immunity. And most of the people who are not into health or not into medicine, they uh, they connect immunity with strength, with vigor, with vitality. Actually, immunity begins with a good digestive system. If you have a clean colon, your immunity will go up. So such simple things, so, and that Ayurveda can address these issues very, very well.
Yeah, the it's what we're discovering about the microbiome and the gut, and how much it correlates to your health is it's astounding. I mean, but I think about the Ayurvedic tradition. I think about the Chinese traditions, and the you guys I think you guys understood way before we started to come into the science, the quote science of it, the observable science of it, how vital the gut is, and how much it works in tandem with the mind to coordinate a healthy immune response. And what I've been learning over the past couple of weeks about it is it's incredible. I mean, there's you have actual neurons in the gut, which correspond directly to the head, and like your neurotransmitters, and so a lot of the chronic illnesses, even things like Parkinson's that we're seeing, and Alzheimer's, and that have to do with the total disruption and breaking down of these neurotransmitters, begins in the gut, right? So it's like it's such a big deal right now with everything that's happening.
Absolutely. And particularly in your country, you are considered the first world countries, and the food is very heavy. When I mean heavy is there's more of the red meat and the cheese and so much, and that's the reason why. And there is less water. People drink soda and alcoholic beverages,
Mm-hmm.
so the gut is always jammed. So in Ayurveda, we believe if you eat 2 to 3 times a day, I think Americans, they have a very big, the meals, the plate, the serving size is also quite big, and all the food. When I have visited America twice, and all the food comes with so many French fries or chips, and this jams the gut. And Ayurveda has something which is safe, which is best is not habit forming as in allopathic drugs, and which is good for long term therapy to cleanse the gut.
Yeah,
Yes.
to keep everything cleansed, and then you don't have a breakdown or a buildup, and it's a big deal, and not many people are conscious of it. We're gonna definitely revisit that. I wanted to, before we skipped ahead, I want to ask you about how the COVID has impacted India, and what's because we have mixed reports about just about everything in this country. It's like it's really tough to understand what the media is doing when half of them are saying one thing and the other half are saying the complete opposite. So I would love to hear what's going down in India with COVID, and how you guys are doing.
Yes. Now we dealt with COVID very, very well. Uh, Mumbai alone has a population of 14 million, and 70% of these people have they don't have access to a toilet in their house, or at least 60%, 50 to 70% don't have access, so they use the common toilets. And then too, we were able to contain the spread of the COVID because we had a lockdown, a very strict lockdown, number one. Number two, we did not allow it to spread to the countryside, because the countryside does not have as many hospitals, because 70% of our population is in the countryside, and we do not have so much infrastructure. So we managed it, being a country where we are in a second, third world country, we managed it very, very well. Example, let me tell you, the masjid, the mosque, the priest of the mosque, every evening they used to say, please stay in your house, don't come for the prayers, wash your hands, be careful, wear your mask. So, people listen to the priest.
Mm.
Similarly, uh, there was lockdown. My factory was closed. Both our factories were closed for 2 months, 3 months.
Mm.
And we said, don't move out. And everyone was so strict. And we followed what our prime minister, what our chief minister
Yeah.
said. We were very, very, and we were able to contain the COVID in a very, very good way.
Yeah.
Thinking of a population, we are 4 times
My
population of
God, yeah,
America.
it's amazing. I mean, we did those things here too, and for the most part, especially, I mean, particularly, we also where we were most densely populated, there was a very strict lockdown, and people, I mean, even today, you can't. I'm in New York City, and you can't, you don't, you can't go anywhere without a mask. You can't, even people are outside, sitting in Central Park have their masks on. I don't because if I'm in Central Park, I'm socially distanced and I want to breathe some fresh air. But it's still very, very you know tight, and people are still very cautious. People are still not getting close to each other, and most businesses are still locked down or closed. So I think that I think that there's a general difference in the amount of health in the population. You started off, and we started this conversation saying how important health and digestion are related, and then we went right into the difference between American foods and some of the Indian typical diet, right? I think that has a big part to do with it too, because 2-3 months and of a very strict lockdown here, and we were just getting started apparently, because it's 1 year later, and that we're still dealing with it in some respects. Well, in societal respects, it's still everywhere, but the bulk of it has come and gone. But I also think that there's a lot to be said about the overall health of a population and how it's going to fare.
Absolutely. And another thing is, we know we have nothing to rely on. We, the general population, they know we don't have a health system in place. We don't have an insurance. Not most of the people don't have insurance. So they have to take care of themselves. So they have no choice. They're on a one-way ticket. Either you
Mm-hmm.
take care of yourself or you go to God. So that is also one of the reasons why we were very careful. And many people did many donations. And well, in the lockdown, we did not lay off anyone. We did not cut salaries. And everyone did their bit
Yeah.
to take care, and God willing, things are good.
Is there any? I mean, is there any talk of the new variant or the variants over there? Are they just like going to work and things are back to normal, and they're not getting too caught up in all the variant talk that's happening?
Well, there is not much of variant here, but there is something called a second wave, because people have, they've
Yeah.
been so much like, you put someone in prison and then you just open the gates and everyone wants to do everything what they couldn't do for months. So we are getting the second wave, but luckily we've got 2, 3 companies who are doing the vaccines, and our country, India, is exporting the vaccines to more than 70 countries.
Nice.
So yeah,
And is
and
it is
more and
it
more companies.
is it like our vaccine, or is it also an mRNA, or is it more of a typical vaccine?
Well, I being a Ayurveda man, to me, vaccine is a vaccine, and
Right.
all vaccines, all vaccines are the same. And in India, now it is for 60 people of 60 years and above age group are they can take the vaccine. And once that is over, that is 30% of our population. And once that is over, then they will open it for 45 plus
I
age
see.
group.
I see. It's amazing how well India has taken everything in stride, considering their population, and some of the forecasts for how India would do specifically were grim because of the population, how dense it is. But yeah, it's pretty amazing how well they did. So back to the Ayurveda, because I really love what Ayurveda seeks to do, and basically what it's for. I mean, Ayurveda, and obviously you got to tell me if I'm speaking this right, but Ayurveda believes prevention is better than cure, right? I mean, and it seeks to address the cause of the symptom, sometimes even prevent the symptom, but that, I think that's the biggest difference between Ayurveda and what we understand to be allopathic medicine here in the United States.
Absolutely, you're bang on target. Everybody in Ayurveda, we believe everybody needs to be healthy, irrespective of the pollution we are exposed to, irrespective of the food habits, irrespective of the fast food or whatever it is. We all deserve to have good health. And Ayurveda believes prevention is better than cure. So you need to take these products, it improves the health of the healthy people. It is rejuvenating. It slows down the aging process. It rejuvenates your organs, Ayurveda. And these herbs are so wonderful. And with technology, we are able to make extracts of these herbs. So we are able to offer herbs in a more potent way than those available naturally. And the best part, Faust, of Ayurveda is in Western medicine, certain products, certain Western medicine come from natural sources, but they isolate the active ingredient. Example, let me give you a very crude, raw example, which anyone will understand. Example, you isolate the glucose from the banana, say, example, and you give it to someone, sugar, the sugar will go up. But the banana has the phosphorus and so many other things. If you extract the whole banana, then the sugar will not go out so much. So what we do is, when we take an extract, we take the whole extract. So we do not disturb the naturalness, the authenticity of Mother Nature. That is why Ayurveda does not have side effects.
That's incredible. I wish that pharmacy and pharmacology here would take a page from, because I at its root, I believe pharmacology and what we understand to be the pharmaceutical industry in our Western society, is a very, very off the path derivative of Ayurveda. It comes from taking these different elements and putting them to work, but it's become so synthetic and chemical based here that it's like you said, there is no non-side effect medicine, and that's a very, I mean, I'm sure that being involved in the world of pharmacy and even though you are on this side of it, you have come up against and understand the ADR. You know what ADR is, right? The adverse drug
Reactions.
Right. I mean, before the pandemic hit, it was quietly, I think, some years it was the number one killer. In other years, it was number 2 or 3 behind cancer and heart disease. But I mean, it's a staggering figure to think that. I mean, and I understand and I know that it's really hard for me to imagine anyone dying from an Ayurvedic, product. It's unimaginable to me. So, I just think that there's so much to this world that I wish would be, exposed in our culture and society here.
Well, just to add to this, my experience, I've traveled to more than 45 countries. And in most places I've seen, whenever you talk of herbal products, be it Ayurveda, be it any Chinese medicine or any herbal products, several doubts plague the mind. Is this product safe? Is there side effects? So let me tell you, can I talk a little bit about myself? My company.
Absolutely.
That my father was a visionary. Though he was an Ayurvedic doctor, he told me, you do you study pharmacy. Why? Because he wanted to adopt the good part of Western medicine, the cleanliness, the no batch to batch variation, the science behind it. You cannot say that this is 5,000-year-old science, so it is good. No, you have to prove it scientifically. That is why, he made me study pharmacy. So we take the cleanliness, the air handling, the everything of allopathy as far as the standards of manufacturing is concerned. You have to take care of the microbial count. You have to take care of the heavy metals, which most Ayurvedic products do not have. You have to take care of the pesticides, everything. So that is why I went into, my father made me do Western medicine, study that, to adapt the good things of Western medicine and implement it into Ayurveda. So we have the modern science of Western medicine and the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda. We have synergized together.
So, Rupam, it was your father who started the company, correct?
Yes, that is right.
And he had this vision. I mean, I would love to hear about your childhood in Mumbai and growing up with a father who was a visionary like this.
A little bit about my late father. He was an Ayurvedic doctor, came from a very humble background, and born, brought up, educated in Mumbai and in Uttar Pradesh, the north of India, where he studied Ayurveda. And he was a physician to all the VVIPs, the President of India, the Prime Minister of India, the Home Minister of India, all. And he used to, carry his bag, and he used to do his mixtures and this and that. And then suddenly he felt, after a few years of practice, that as a doctor, he can only serve this many amount of number of people. But if he starts his own company, he can serve millions of people. Basically, he had a passion for Ayurveda. I would say he was crazy about Ayurveda. And when he started the company, see, a doctor he's very good as a professional, but a doctor need not be a good businessman. And for 5 years, he left his practice. He used up all his savings. He and some of our relatives, because in India, we have joint families and we're very close, and said, "Hey, doctor, you're mad. You had such a good practice. Why you give up your practice?" He got into formulations and getting the licenses, because as a doctor, he did not need any license, because what he did, he was a doctor. So he is the best. But when you go to the public, you form a company, a pharmaceutical, Ayurvedic pharmaceutical company, you need all these things. And then he used up all his, resources and everything. And suddenly he got business in 1991 in America. And he did not know how to use the computers. He used to tell me this story. There were floppies those days.
Yeah.
And in Utah, there was a company, and they said that, what do you have to present? So my father said, I have to present myself. And he started the story of Ayurveda. And since then till today, we are doing in USA, and then we started in Malaysia. And yes, and with his blessings, he then suddenly I completed my pharmacy and joined him in the business, and I learned everything there was to learn in the factory, and I was very passionate. And then suddenly in 97, he passed away in London. He was there on a seminar he was the Ayurvedic Drug Manufacturers Association. He was the president. He was very passionate, not for promoting his company, but promoting Ayurveda for the well-being of the people. He wanted every individual. See, the name, my company's name, WellX, was Christian Weil. Any X can be well. That is what his vision was. And then when he passed away in London, I did not know finance. I did not know marketing. And then I had these people, and I didn't know what to do, because I was told what to do. Hey, Roopam, you do this, you do that. And I just follow him. And if I have a problem, I ran to him. My problem was solved. And if I had a bigger problem, he was so influential. He could call the minister's secretary and this and that, blah, 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 what have you. And here I had a fantastic, I was under a tree which was very cool, very nice.
Yeah.
Suddenly I was under the sun. And then I was doubtful what would happen, but everything fell, everything in place. And today we're exporting to more than 20 countries. And the vision is the same, to take Ayurveda to as many people as possible, to improve the health of the people, to reduce the suffering and the pain of the people. And that is what Ayurveda can do. And I believe Ayurveda has yet not got its place in the world.
I agree.
Ayurveda can improve longevity. Ayurveda can improve health. Ayurveda can do so many things.
That's an incredible story. You know, it's that. And how old was your dad when he passed?
Oh, he was 61.
Oh, so it was unexpected. It was
He,
I'm
he
sorry.
was
Yeah.
very unexpected. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And yeah,
Yeah. That's that, I can't imagine that time for you. It must have been crazy.
yeah.
Um, and so but you also you started to travel, and you went your own path, and began to study as well. Is that, did I understand that right? I mean, you were traveling and learning literally about some of the traditions from Tibet and the Himalayas and all these plants which have such medicinal qualities. You learned a lot hands on, right?
Absolutely. I was a confused man. So I said, what do I do? So I said, what did my father do? So I started from where he started. And of course, he did not have the resources. My father left me with decent resources. So I just did what he did. Just wanted to be the shadow of the man. And as you said, I met physicians. I met so many people. And some of the physicians, they're not actually physicians by qualification, but they're so intelligent, they're so smart, so sharp. They can, if I need to identify a herb, I need to take a section, see it under the microscope, do the chemical test, and I will identify it. These people would just take the leaf, smell it, taste it, see it, and they would identify, and 9.9 times they were right. So I had the opportunity to meet such people, and they were not, they were just passionate about Ayurveda, passionate about improving the health of the people. And lucky for me, that we went on improving the formulations with the technology. We changed, we went on upgrading our systems. We went for ISO. No one in Ayurveda did ISO. We went for WHO, that is World Health Organization.
Mm-hmm.
Good manufacturing practices. So we follow all the allopathic standards in Ayurveda. And that is why among all the countries we export, few countries have very high standards.
Mm-hmm.
Blindly, I have made those standards my standards. Whether I export to Bangladesh, where there are virtually no standards, or I export to USA or to Bulgaria, the product will be the same. There will be no difference
I see.
in the quality. Yeah.
So you were traveling to the Himalayas, and you were in southern India and Tibet, and I mean, you must have seen. I mean, you were visiting. Basically, you were visiting medicine men. I mean, that's what they probably were called at one point. You know, and you know we do things a certain way here in the West, but you know, for thousands of years in throughout humanity, let's be honest, the medicine man was the one who was raised to understand and treat and medicine. You know, there were no schools to go off to. I mean, and if you go to some of the few remaining villages, you'll find out that the person that you're going to see when you're ill is some person. They're not a quote doctor, but they're the one you see. You know, and I just would. It sounds so fascinating that you were visiting like some of these exotic, you know, renowned places and visiting medicine men who I think, you know, have a certain wisdom to them. What else did you learn? What were some of the most amazing things you saw on this journey? Like, I can't imagine.
I remember I was in south of India, and there was this very um, a man with great wisdom. He could cure people and not no formal education. So I was at his knee, and these people don't want money, they want nothing. And what happens, unfortunately, their generation, their children, because they don't make more money, the children don't want to get into their profession. They don't want to learn from them. So they have a little bit of frustration for that, because their knowledge will go with them. So at their knee, we do the namaste and say, look, I want to know this. So one particular Vaidya is a Ayurvedic doctor. One particular Vaidya, he said that you add one part of this, two part of this, and three parts of this herb, blah, blah, blah. So I said, why one part, why two part, and why three part? Because as a pharmacist, I wanted to know scientific. And he's just got up, he lost his cool. He said, get the hell out of my house. You question me? I'm doing this since. I said, I'm very sorry, sir. It is the curiosity. I'm very pleased. I apologize. And then, of course, he made me eat food. He made me have lunch. And then he hugged me. And these are some of the stories, which I don't think the next generation will ever experience. And that man is gone. He's gone to God. And some of these small experiences, you don't question them. You just follow them. So
he probably,
it's that way.
He probably never had anyone question him in his life. It was probably a shock. My God, that's a great story. Yeah. So what you did when you got back, and I love this part of your journey, was you found yourself sitting in meetings with a lot of among pharmaceutical companies, and you were meeting with the same people that pharmaceutical companies basically have to go through to get their products sold. And so you decided that you would put your products under the same kind of testing and rigorous trials and whatnot, so that you truly had something to show when you were visiting these places and trying to get your products to people, and show how they were, not only were they safe, but they were highly effective and without the side effects. So I would love to hear how that went about, and give me an example of one of your products that you guys had some amazing scientific hard, because everybody here in the United States is evidence obsessed and right now, and the problem is that they don't realize how anything can be taken and kind of manipulated to be evidence of something else, and but everyone wants to see the quote proof, and so the fact that you did this and that you come with that is awesome. So I'd love to hear more about it.
Absolutely. See, what happened is that times changed after my father, and people wanted to do more scientific evidence. And first I had to look for business. So I went for the third world countries, Bangladesh and other countries where I the business is happening. I'm making the money, and whatever money I made, I put it back in my company, because this is my bread and butter. Not only my bread and butter, this is my passion. This is my everything. So we developed systems. We modernized. We did everything possible. Today, the best pharmaceutical company once you come visit our factory in Mumbai, in India, it's next to about 150 kilometers from Mumbai. You will feel you are in USA. You will not feel you are in Asia. So those kind of systems. Now coming to your question, what is the specialty? What got into me? What is the product where Ayurveda has something to offer, when allopathy does not, and which is a common problem in each and every household? Cleansing the colon. In America, there is maximum constipation because of the food habits. People have the xylem husk. People have so many laxatives, which causes inflammation of the colon, which is habit forming, which gives griping pain, which sometimes gives loose motions. So first we talked about the colon cleanser, and we have a very beautiful product. If I can talk about it, Iolex. And then I said, let me put Iolex to a clinical trial comparable to our allopathic drug. And we did that. And the best part was, we did a clinical trial, and the subjects initially on day one, they went to the big job, if I could call it that, only 3 to 4 times a week. Once they took Iolex, they went 8 times a week.
Wow.
and it peaked to 12 times a week. And the clinical trial physician stopped the product, and even after stopping the product, they still went 8 times a week.
So
So
they
that is
were
one.
still going regularly after taking the product because they had kind of reset their cycle.
Absolutely. And one other ailment which I would like to little bit dwell on is cholesterol. Now, first, the drug of choice for cholesterol in America, in India, in wherever is statins. Statins have many side effects,
Yes, they do.
muscle pull and this and that other. But let me tell you a very common side effect which is so dangerous, which most of the common people do not know. One thing, when you start taking statins for hypercholesterol, you take it till you go to the ground, till you die. Now, out of every 100 people taking statins, after 1 year of taking statins, 9 people, so 9% of the people will become diabetic because of taking statins.
The
Just
diabetic.
imagine, yes, you already
Oh
have
my God.
cholesterol, and now because of that product, you're getting statins. So what we did as a businessman and as a entrepreneur, I said, here there is a gap which Ayurveda can fill. So we came up with a product called Ayurol. Ayurol works on hypercholesterol. So we did a clinical trial. X number of people were put on statins, conventional allopathic drugs. X number of people were put on Ayurol, Ayurvedic product. And the beauty is, statins did what they did with the side effects. Ayurol did what the statins did, minus the side effects.
Wow.
So this is what was an achievement for my company.
That's an amazing achievement. That's incredible. My God, that's there are so many people on statins here, and as I'm sure diabetes is out of control, and it continues to rise here, and that has to do with diet and with everything else. But I just think this, and the more I learn about the statins, that it's there's more than side effects. They also leave you prone to a lot of different diseases that, I even heard that, people who were on statins were much more prone to COVID. And that's, if they're more prone to COVID and that kind of a new pathogen, then you can make the case that they're more prone right across the board, which we're seeing here in the United States with the correlation between diabetes and the very high risk of catching COVID. So it's so, the interconnection of it all is profound, and so that's an amazing. Congratulations on that. That's an amazing Ayurvedic product that I really hope catches on, because I feel like it's probably tremendously beneficial for a person to be on a product that is natural without the side effects, without being prone to these other diseases and illnesses, than taking a pharmaceutical drug, which you're not going to be able to get off of once you start it.
Absolutely. And as I said at the beginning, I'm not saying I'm against allopathy. For certain ailments, you need to take allopathy, certain conditions. But for day-to-day ailments, example, hemorrhoids. In USA, it is very common to put suppositories. I'm you know what are suppositories? They are
Yes.
yeah. It's put on the backside. It is messy, and the worst part is it is not it is just suppressing the symptoms as in any allopathic
Mm-hmm.
drug.
Mm-hmm.
In Ayurveda, we believe in attacking the root of the problem. So we have something which not only treats, it cures hemorrhoids.
How does it? Tell me
So
how that works. How does it work?
yeah, now uh, this formulation, it is well, if people have example 4 5 children, which is your best child? It's very difficult. Which is your best finger?
I
Very
see.
difficult to say. But there is a right hand thumb, which is very important. So one of our products, Ayurvedic, it's excellent for hemorrhoids. Usually people have to go for surgery. Surgery is painful, expensive, and hemorrhoids reoccur. We've got a product which is clinically tried. Within, it is believed that herbal products do not show results fast, but this defies that belief. It works within 24 to 36 hours, stops the bleeding, itching, and the best part is it shrinks the swollen tissues. And all this has been clinically tested, and the clinical trials are with the Clinical Trial Registry of India, and international medical journals have published the clinical trials of
Wow.
this product. So I take a lot of pride, if I may say so, very humbly, in this particular product, because virtually there is no treatment in Western medicine for hemorrhoids.
You're right. There isn't. There really. I mean, you could go to the drugstore and buy a number of, like you said, some of them are topical, some of them are suppository, but there is nothing that there certainly is no pill that they sell and hemorrhoids is so common that they just don't even bother with it. I mean, if you get a big enough hole somewhere down there, they'll cut, sew you up, but it's like you said, they recur, so the surgery becomes redundant, because if you develop them once, there's a strong chance you'll develop them again. So that's amazing. That's the first time I've ever heard of a product which directly treats and has an effect on hemorrhoids. That's so cool, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And secondly, we are very focused in our claims. We do not say we cure AIDS and we cure cancer, and we very focused. We take care, as you said, first, prevention is better than cure. Firstly, is do not fall sick. If you take the Ayurvedic products regularly, we have something for vitality product for men, vitality product for women, and and if you take those products, when you take those products, you don't fall ill. Finished. Or your chances of falling ill is less. You cleanse your colon, you have something for vitality, nothing will go wrong. Your heart will function well, your kidneys will do the good filtration, your liver will be good. You will
Hmm.
not die unless someone shoots someone or someone gets an accident.
Yeah.
So, and you will have good longevity, good health, good skin, good breath, good body movements. This is Ayurveda.
It's amazing. You see why it's such a renowned tradition. I'm learning more and more about the epigenetics and the way that our bodies begin to age and break down, and how we're such a complex organism in the functioning of each and every organ and center, and how it all works together. But as you age, there's a natural decline in the effectiveness of the functioning, right? So you know Ayurvedic products, and I'm learning this not just in my studying of your products, but in some of my other podcasts that I've done as well. Nature has provided us everything that we need, literally,
Absolutely.
and people
Yes.
have gone so far from this understanding that it's literally killing us in so many ways. And I just think that like if people knew what was here on this planet for us to use, and what the knowledge that's already here on how to use it. And I mean, it's astounding. It's amazing that the literally you can maintain health through these products. I mean, and I'm with I agree with you. Allopathy, and there are some medications which they're miraculous, and like Western medicine and doctors and some of the things they can do in surgery, and I mean it's phenomenal. It's amazing, the stuff they can do, especially with technology today. But as far as health goes, as far as cultivating health, you know, that world is not about that. That world is about treating symptoms and addressing what has been destroyed by illness, right? And I just think that if people were more educated about Ayurveda and some of the older traditions of plant and medicine, and how those two things meet, the overall population would be so much healthier. And then things like COVID would come around, and there wouldn't need to be this, especially here in America, we wouldn't have this drastic loss of life and susceptibility to it, because everyone's immune system would be operating stronger. That's all.
Absolutely. And one thing I've observed in my meeting and interacting with people, and even the health community and even customers. They say, how long do I take this product if they're not ill, or we have something for male vitality, female vitality. So I ask them, if a person has diabetes, if a person has hypertension, if a person has cholesterol, he takes the allopathic medicine all his life, and he starts a blood pressure normally. It starts at 40, 45. And by the time he's 60, that drug has already problem with his kidneys, problem with his sexual life. He becomes impotent, all that. Nobody questions allopathy. And when we say, when you take Ayurveda, a good Ayurveda product, authentic Ayurveda product, the more longer you take, the more you can reverse your aging. This is the beauty of Ayurveda.
That's it's a big topic right now, and it's really coming more and more to the forefront as we get more and more advanced in our understanding of medicine, plant, like Ayurvedic medicine, plant medicine, and how powerful these extracts can be and function on the body as to literally reverse some of the epigenetic, aging that we see over time in the human body. You can begin to not just stall those signals, those markers, but you can reverse them. And I think that this is going to be such a big thing, in the next 20, 30 years, when it really starts to come out that it is possible to begin to reverse on a cellular level the aging process. I just think that the implications are profound, and I think you're at the forefront of it as well.
Absolutely. And could I talk something about my own experience in my own family?
Absolutely. But before you do, did you say that you had a female Viagra? And if you did, I'm just no, but is that what you were referring to when you said about the tonic?
First, are you a mind reader? Because
I am
I
a
was
little
going to
bit of a
talk about I was going to talk about something for females,
oh.
but and there is a very big void of what is available today in America, including the Western herbs. I know you all make the best cars and the best rockets and the best skyscrapers and the best systems and whatever. But when it comes to herbal products, India is very mature, and companies like ours have made the yardstick. We have gone by the allopathic, the Western yardstick. Whatever the Western product has, our product has, and much more. What much more is, we do not have side effects. Coming to what I was talking about, see, so many women today, during my mother's days, very few women removed the uterus or ovarian cancer and hormone replacement therapy and this and that. And today, see, every house, every other place, women have their problems. Now, I tell you my own example. I've got one daughter. She's 18 now. When she was 14, the puberty starts.
Mm-hmm.
And she was bleeding for 1 month continuously. She wouldn't go to the school. She would, watch her skirt, what is happening, what not. And our products are made for 18, because in clinical trials, you do not, because we are very, very specific about and very, very law binding. So my wife said, to hell with the clinical trials. I'm going to give my daughter these products. We went to the pediatrician, because those days it was pediatrician. Pediatrician wrote the hormonal pills. That is to prevent the pregnancy, prevent the pregnancy. Imagine 14-year-old girl, I'm giving her, and this is a girl whose grandfather is a Ayurvedic man, father is Ayurvedic man. My wife said, nothing doing with the hell with your clinical trials. I'm going to put her on Ayurveda, the tonic for women. And after 3 months, her periods became so regular. Today she's 18 and she's studying in UK. She's studying pharmacy there. She takes the products there. It is like clockwork. Comes on time, month to month. She's healthy. She's fit. She's as healthy as an ox. So what does this product do? It balances the hormones. When your hormones are balanced, automatically fertility will be more. There are so many ladies who are healthy, but they cannot produce children. It was not happening during our mother's time. because stress, dietary habits, mainly stress.
A lot of reasons. Well, a lot
Lot
of,
of reasons.
yeah.
Lot of reasons. So this one product, when your hormones are balanced, automatically the women's how to say, the vaginal will be more how to say, lubricated, if I
It's
can put it in a scientific way.
so
And
it's a
there are
true.
certain ingredients, yes, certain ingredients which will make the breast firm. I'm not saying they'll make them big, they'll make them firm, because Ayurveda has these things, and these things happen in reality.
So it's a natural regulator. So because it brings balance to the body. So you, especially at a time like puberty. I mean, I'm not saying that, but it's a big thing in the United States right now with there's a lot of talk about, because kids are growing. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, it's probably not a problem that you guys see in India, but here there's a lot of hormone therapy, and is a big thing now because there are many people advocating for children to be able to get and have access to this kind of treatment, and it's become a very politicized topic. If a if a young woman is growing up, excuse me, or a young man who has not had those characteristics start coming, and they're identifying more with a feminine sex, then what they believe is that it should be okay to allow them to explore that, or vice versa. And I think that's a rocky road to go down. I don't know if kids should be, if young kids have any ability to kind of discern what's happening, But anything that brings balance, I think, is vital.
Absolutely. And to put it in a layman's word, where does the food come from? The bread, the rice, it all comes, vegetables, it comes from the soil. Ayurveda is made from herbs. Where do the herbs come from? It is soil. It is, you consider Ayurveda as food with medicinal value. I am not ill. I am very healthy, and I live a normal. I'm a vegetarian. I enjoy my pint on weekends, and maybe sometimes 3 4 pints on weekends. And um, uh, but I do take the product for vitality. See, men, first when you talk about vitality, they just think about the little brother. It is not that. Vitality is overall well-being. Vitality is the pumping of the heart, good digestive system, good blood circulation, and automatically then the little brother also will behave very well. So it's the, we treat, Ayurveda treats the body holistically. That is a difference between allopathy and Ayurveda. Allopathy just suppressing the symptoms. We
Yeah.
treat it holistically. So I take my products. I take the colon cleanser every day. If my
Hmm.
colon is clean, the skin will be clear, the breath will be good, and the body movements, and the vitality pills. So we are here to give good health to the healthy people so they do not fall ill.
So the Ayurvedic medicine that you have for men, does it act more holistically, or does it also have the same effect as some of the the very popular Western brands of ED treatment?
Yeah. So we did this clinical study. Okay, let me tell you in very straightforward, simple answer. Yes, it will work, but the allopathic drug will work in half an hour. But what will do? It will cause tachycardia, meaning pumping of the heart will
Hmm.
increase. The people who have blood pressure, it is not good for them. And but it will work in half an hour to 1 hour. Whereas our products, the Ayurvedic products which we manufacture, will surely work on ED, but will take 6 7 days. And it will be a natural way. The 60-year-old man will feel he's like 45. And it is a beautiful feeling.
I see.
But
I,
it doesn't work overnight because, of course, it does not have chemicals. And the
right.
best part is it does not have the tachycardia. It does not increase the blood pressure. It is a natural way of rejuvenating the organs, improving the blood circulation. It's that way.
Sure, because it's usually a blood circulation thing, but it's stemming from other health issues, which is why it's so rampant in in America and some of the other places today. But very cool, man. I'm going to give you my address. You can send me a sample.
Certainly, I will, surely.
No, the products do sound great. So, I wanted to ask you, the when you were in Tibet, did you meet any like spiritual masters, and in your travels, did you meet any people who really kind of changed your outlook, on this planet and this life?
I had the real opportunity to meet the physician to the Dalai Lama. And it was not a one-on-one, of course, because he was a busy man. But there I was, and he saw me, he spoke to me, and there was a communication gap because of the language issues. But there was an interpreter. But I met the physician of the Dalai Lama, and he had certain knowledge. He used to, you've seen physicians looking at the pulse. This man had this thing, he used to see this finger, the first finger. He used to touch this, and he could diagnose what the patient had. I was fascinated. I could not speak. I said, how can first I thought, is it a bluff? But looking at him and the shine on his face, on the old man's face, and he was a monk. I mean, he did not want anything. And he would just do this, and he would tell that person, you've got this.
Wow.
And that was one of the most fascinating experiences I have seen, meeting these people, these kings of Ayurveda, kings of natural products.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure he has incredible insight. If he's the physician to the Dalai Lama, then his perception's probably off the charts. But it's amazing when those two things meet. That's the other thing I think that we should, we're training doctors, but everything is literally physical. Everything is literally what's in front. If we began to train doctors to hone their innate, I believe that we all have this innate capacity to perceive, things that you can't see with your eyes. You may not be able to smell them with your nose, but you can sense them with your heart. You can sense them with your mind. And what an amazing skill to try to cultivate in doctors. Like, there are facets of government where they know the power of this skill. Like the Navy SEALs caught wind of it, and they cultivate it in their people. The CIA certainly knows about it. They just tend to keep it quiet. But it's like, I believe we all have this innate capacity for intuition that that doesn't come with these five senses, but comes with the sixth one that we don't talk about so much here. You guys probably talk about it more in India than we do here.
Yes, absolutely. And there is certain things, there are no answers. You cannot expect a scientific answer for everything. Though in my field, my profession, I have gone, as I said, no company, not many companies, if I would say not no, I don't know of many companies my size. I'm not a very big size company. I'm a middle sized company. My size company, we constantly spend money on clinical trials, on improving the products. Right now, we are working on prostate health, and the initial results are very fascinating. Just imagine a 70-year-old man who just cannot pee, and 15 days into the product, and the flow of urine is there, and the blessings you get, and the good wishes
that would be another game changer. That'd be huge.
Yes. So we are constantly innovating, constantly working, constantly improving what is I believe whatever is just now, it is good, it can be made better.
So going back to the Dalai Lama, you mentioned how the physician was using the pulse, and so I was wondering what is the science behind, like, because I believe that's called pulsology. When they can use the pulse to make a general reading. Am I understanding that right?
You're saying it right. My knowledge is very limited. Of course, I was exposed being a son of an Ayurvedic doctor, and my father, like all Ayurvedic doctors, used to see the pulse this way. And let me talk about pulsology a little bit. Uh, Earlier, the physicians or the Vaidyas used to sit under the tree, and the patient used to come from 30, 40 feet. The way there was no x-ray, there was no scanning, there was no, all these equipments were not there. So this Vaidya, his eyes were the scanning, his eyes were everything. The way that man walked, the way his eyes looked, the way his pulse felt, he could say, you've got this, you've got this, you've got that. And I don't have any knowledge of this science. Of course, my father had it. And the physician of Dalai Lama used to see the first finger, which I have never seen on any other physicians. So that is what fascinated me. And I was one among the few 50 odd people sitting there. Maybe he didn't even notice me. And I tried to get as close as I could. I mean, brushing my shoulders, rubbing my shoulders to him, near him, falling at his feet. And this is the way the Hindus respect the elders, to fall at their feet. And though I could not get that close, but he was the one who did this. And my father could do this by the pulse. These days, the doctor would see only the beat. And by the pulse, the ancient physicians, they were way, what you said a few minutes back, they were way beyond technology. Just the way the patient walks, the way his eyes look. Now, example, my father, I used to sit with him in his little clinic, in his little, you call him consulting room. He used to say, if a person has bags under the eyes, bags over here, meaning he's got cholesterol. That was his science. I don't know true or false. But if you see people who have cholesterol, they do have bag under the eyes. People who have dark circles, dark under the eyes, either they have not slept well or they've got a liver problem. And people who have a liver problem, they do have this. People who have a white tongue is more white than normal, they also have a liver problem. So I don't know whether my father was right or wrong, but I've seen people with liver problems with a white tongue. So the two connect. So with pulsology also, it is a very, very great science. And now not many Vaidyas, Ayurvedic doctors also practice it, because times have changed and people want to see the blood pressure, I mean, the blood result and everything. So those days, here you go to the physician and immediately he say, go test your blood. Those days, there were no labs. There were few labs. And only if you're in the hospital, you would take the blood test. Otherwise, there was no blood test.
Yeah.
So Ayurveda is way beyond, in certain ways, modern medicine.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a lot older. And modern medicine, especially allopathy, comes from these traditions. So it's like, there's something very pure, literally, and metaphysically, metaphorically, about the tradition and the field. And I do believe that in the next 50 years, there's going to be this wave of products that is coming up, and it's going to be a wave that is in a big C because of the pharmaceutical industry, the allopathic, the amount of power and money that it's come into, and the amount of influence that it's come into in regards to policies and education, because they have their hands in everything. Let's be realistic, and they're the only reason why I think that some of these amazing traditions have fallen off the charts is because of very, very strategic propaganda and discrediting by some of the modern day practices and allopathic pharmaceutical treatments, because they don't want the competition. So they did a good job of eliminating a lot of it, which is why it's so practically vacant here in the Western world, especially in America. And look, take a look at our population. Take a look at the overall health. I mean, there's a reason why America is going through the crisis it is today, and I think that the absolute biggest reason for it is our overall health. It's not any one thing. It's not any one policy or mandate or restriction that one place did better than another. I just think that the overall health is the most defining factor, because in truth, we didn't do much different than anyone else when COVID hit. We locked down for months, and we're still dealing with it. And I think that's because of the overall population.
Yes. And first, to add to what you said, something just came to my mind spontaneously. People talk about herbal products. They have these doubts. I ask the allopathic people with most humility that they do all the clinical trials. They spend billions of dollars in developing a molecule. And after it is launched, after they make billions and billions, there are claims, and they have to settle those claims in millions. This does not happen with an authentic Ayurvedic product.
Yeah, probably.
So in spite of spending, so they have made their billions and they're settling in millions. The belief in Ayurveda, we want to create a belief in Ayurveda where less people fall sick, people remain healthy, they age very gracefully. All this is what one should do for the mankind.
Absolutely, I agree. You began to mention some of the Hindu traditions that you were a part of when you were talking about the Dalai Lama's physician and how you felt at his feet, and it's a fascinating subject to me, because I of all the religions, the Hindu religion is probably the one that I was least exposed to growing up. But then learning about it and seeing the different not deities, but figures that are prominent in it, like Ganesh, is very, very popular here. And I was wondering, like, what's your favorite? What do you feel is most attractive to you, and is it different from when you were a kid? And
well, if you know about gods, are you aware of the god called Shiva, the one who has snake around his neck?
Yes, of course, yes.
And it is believed, we believe in mythology, that Shiva is very easy to tell him, hey Shiva, listen to me, man, please. And he's very easy to do that. And he used to love to drink, love to smoke, and he used to do drugs and stuff like that. And he used to meditate in the Himalayas. And Shiva is just for if you're aware of it, I don't know. Shiva is the father of Ganesh. Ganesh is the elephant god. And whenever we do something new, as in Chinese, they bring the Buddha, the laughing Buddha. Whenever we do something new, say, open a new office or bring in a new machine in the factory, we pray to the god Ganesh. To me, my favorite one is Shiva, because Shiva is very easy to, he listens to you.
Right.
That is what I believe. Yeah.
Shiva is the one with the snake, you said, right? Is that the one but that's masculine, right?
Yeah, that's very masculine. Yeah. With the big hair and yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So
it's very, very fascinating, the traditions. And you still are a practicing Hindu is still
I'm a practicing Hindu and I'm a Brahmin. Brahmin is a priest community, but though I again bring my father into everything because I owe so much to him, to that man. He educated me in a Catholic school. I was studying in Sacred Heart Boys High School, where my teachers were priests. They were father. We used to call them father, brother, that way, because he wanted me to expose to everything. Not only Ayurveda, not only we don't wear blinkers.
Right.
Look at the full world. Take good from everything. Take the good from everything and practice it, and success will come to you. See what you can do for others. When you start doing for others, automatically Mother Nature is there. Mother Nature will bless you.
It's so well put, man. And I was listening to this old Indian doctor, this Ayurvedic, he was trained as a doctor in, in Western medicine, but has, returned to his roots and was educating this big room of people about Ayurvedic medicine and about some of the most recent discoveries about the human body and how this complex, trillion organism being that we are, and how, look, Western medicine loves to treat one thing, and treat this. And it's like you were saying, Ayurvedic medicine treats the whole body, because you can't separate these parts. It's literally all connected. We think we can go in and, just fix the liver and just fix that. And sure, sometimes allopathy is great for that, but for the most part, it's the health of the whole body that's going to keep those organs functioning. And he said something to his audience, which I thought was amazing. He said, I in illness, he said, and we is in wellness. He said that's what he always teaches his students. He said, when you do for others, when you realize that you are a part of a greater whole and that this being called human is all of us, he said that, your health and your life begins to take on new
Hey, Faust,
meaning.
your audio dropped out.
Oh, when did it drop out? When I was saying something good?
You're saying the
Finally.
greater whole. Just go back to that, I guess.
When
Start with
Wait.
the I and the we thing.
yeah, he said, the illness and there's an I in illness, and he said there's wellness and there's a we in wellness. And he spoke about how, when you start to understand that this being called human is not just you, but it's all of us, you can really start to experience the profundity of that, and also, your health. And when you start to do for others, it's an amazing effect on your life and your body. And I'm sure that you are reaping those effects and benefits every day because of what you do and because of your passion for it. So it's it's amazing to see you. And you do look wonderful. I mean, I know that you're probably, I think I read that you're about 52, 53 years old, and you look fantastic, man. You could totally be in your 40s. So it's amazing to see these products, and that you've been using them for throughout your life.
Absolutely. And, if I can share one story, uh, my father, he treated someone in Malaysia, and after 11, 12 years, I happened to go there after his passing away. Of course, I went in between many times, and this lady published something in the Indian newspaper. I still have the cutting. And I was fascinated. I said, who's this lady and why this? And I went back, called the distributor. I said, look, find this lady. She was in Penang. I was in Kuala Lumpur. And we called her. She said, oh, you're Dr. Bhatt's son. I said, yes. Are you a doctor? I said, no, I'm a pharmacist. Come, I invite you for lunch. I said, look, I'm a vegetarian. I can eat anything that's vegetarian. And she called me. And first, what I saw, there's this cross of Jesus. Under that is her and my father's photograph. And I just, even now, I'm getting, my hair are getting, I ran to the toilet and I cried like a baby. Because
Wow.
I that time I became a managing director, of the company and this and that. So I can't show my emotions. And then I came out, got, composed and everything. And then I said, why is this photo? She said, my husband had this, that, other, and your father cured him in 3 months' time, blah, blah,
Wow.
blah. And these experiences are fascinating.
Yeah.
And everywhere in the world, people from weather, they talk to health. And I repeatedly say, we can do so much for the humankind, for the mankind, to improve their health, to reduce their pain and suffering, to rejuvenate their health.
Yeah. Yeah. It's those stories are priceless, man. It's when you realize that you had that, you're part of this tradition and the effect that you have on people's lives. I mean, karma is a word that's thrown around a lot here, but you do get back what you put out, and I can see that and sense that about you and your life, and I imagine it's so rewarding. I mean, just talking to you is rewarding in and of itself, because I think this information is really important for people, especially here in America, to hear and learn about, because there's options and there's choices, about how we take care of ourselves. And here we live in a society that likes to keep a very narrow focus of what those options and choices are. And as of right now, that kind of tunnel vision is making a lot of people sicker and sicker, and chronic illness is really on the rise. And so I think that the more people can begin to take care of themselves and not look to, a nanny or some kind of, government or health place to tell them what to do once they're sick, the more they can cultivate health, the less they're going to have to experience, those choices down the line. So it's so important. But let me take you a little far out with me before we part ways, my friend. I always ask these questions because I love them, and everyone has their own experience. But it's fascinating talking to you, because you're from a country that has much more of a metaphysical history than ours. And so I was wondering what you would say to mankind, if you could talk to everybody before you, let's say you were leaving on a UFO, you and your family were going to go to some place that you all really wanted to go to. What would you say to mankind before you left? What piece of advice would you give them?
When you come to the earth, what you can do for others, in whichever way. You are into hosting, how you can help people. In Ayurveda, how I can help people. Mr. Hunter, how he can do in his script writing. Everyone, I believe, can do something for others. And when you do something for others, I tell you, Mother Nature, she's so good. She blesses, she showers. And without expectation, when you do for others, in whichever way. In my company, we have a policy. All the blue collar workers, all their children, we give them education without expectation that they will come. No, we want them to be on their own. And there's an office boy. Office boy is the one who goes to the bank, who runs around, who serves the tea in Mumbai, in India. His son is an engineer. And I'm so glad. Very soon he's going to buy a car. There's a first car in the full family. And you know what he said? Here they call, elder, they call uncle. Hey, uncle, when I bring the car, you're the first one who's going to sit. I said, no, your father and me will sit together.
Yeah.
So these are the things which we can do for people. And when you do for people, it comes back 100 times.
It does. You're absolutely right. And you're here to give your gift. I learned something a few years ago that changed my life. It was a bit of advice that I read that said that when people come into your life, instead of habitually asking yourself what they can do for you, or I should say subconsciously kind of asking yourself, I wonder what they're here to do for me. Ask yourself what gift you can give to them, because that's why they've come into your life. And when I started thinking like that, it literally changed my life. Roopam, so in your travels, did you ever? I mean, we read stories about when people encounter these mystical men and these medicine men, and when the two things combine, oftentimes miracles abound. And I was wondering if you ever, what was like the craziest encounter you ever had, and you've ever witnessed something that you just couldn't believe?
The craziest encounter is somebody who had rheumatoid arthritis. And that lady was on crutches and stuff like that. And I was with this physician in again, south of India. And he said, do this, that, do the steam, all that. And I said to myself, those days as a young man, I'm 20 something, and this fellow is bluffing. This old lady is going to go to the ground and, stuff like that. And somehow I got curious. And within 6 months, she could walk with a stick. Now, I don't know about medicine that Vaidya gave that lady, but this was one of the very fascinating, because she was brought virtually on a stretcher. And I saw the picture, she could walk. So, but as for aliens, I've not seen any aliens, and I don't intend.
Now you're reading my mind, Roopam. How did you know I was going to ask you that? No, so you never knew you saw one, but do you ever see a UFO or anything in the sky where you're like, what the hell? What is that thing?
Wherever I see, left, right, up, down, Ayurveda, 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 Ayurveda. And I want Ayurveda to reach the potential it deserves. I want Ayurveda to be the best. And so many people, just imagine, if Ayurveda is good, the farmers who are growing the crops, growing the herbs will be happy. The extraction people will be happy. The capsule manufacturer will be happy. You, everyone, and those who are not associated with their business, with our business. See the fascinating thing. They also will be happy because their health will be good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's profound, and it needs to be much more saturated, I think, into the culture here. And I wish you the best of luck. I'm looking forward to trying your products. I'm looking forward to telling my wife more about them. My family who, deal with a lot of the things that your products directly address, in a way that will keep them out of the pharmacy and off some of the typical pharmaceutical drugs that have some of these side effects that I don't think are good. They're not worth the price and the price you pay with your body, more importantly. So yeah, it's Roopam, awesome to make acquaintance. Hunter's talked about you before, and it's great to finally meet you and talk to you and have you on the show.
Thank you, my pleasure, and thank you for having me. And Faust, you've been a brilliant host.
Absolutely.
And thank you very much. And thank you, Hunter. God bless you both.
Appreciate it, brother.